I'll gladly admit that one of my biggest faults as a content creator who mostly covers Bethesda news is that I honestly often forget that not everybody plays every Bethesda game. Not everyone who's playing Starfield right now grew up playing Elder Scrolls and Fallout like I did. So when I made a video the other day talking about the newest Shattered Space news, aka Starfield's first big DLC, I got a lot of comments and some messages basically just of people wondering how the DLC will work. Because again, not everybody has that history with Bethesda. Not everybody knows and understands how Bethesda usually works. And again, I just seem to often forget that, and it's definitely something that I need to work on. But my point is, a lot of people are wondering, hey, will we have to start a new character for this DLC? Will this DLC be set before the events of Starfield? How long can we expect the DLC to be? So on and so forth. So what I'm going to do today is go over how Bethesda usually plan out and do their DLCs, to sort of just give you an idea of what you can expect, so let's not waste any time and just get straight to the point. Just to try and go over this as quickly as I can, Bethesda like to put their DLCs out sort of in sets. If we look back at Skyrim, our first DLC was a DLC called Dawnguard, which, much like Shattered Space, was a story-focused DLC, introducing a new questline, 2 new factions, new armors, weapons, NPCs, locations, and so on. Then we got Hearthfire, which was the smallest of the 3 Skyrim DLCs, which allowed us to adopt children, build our own homes, have pets, and so on. Finally, we got Dragonborn, which was a huge DLC giving us an entire new map to explore, tons of factions, NPCs, weapons, armor, etc, etc. Then we can move on a few years later to Fallout 4. Our first DLC, again much like Shattered Space, was a story-focused DLC, introducing 2 new factions again, and again adding in tons of weapons, armors, NPCs, blah blah blah, you get the point. But with Fallout 4 something changed. We didn't just get 3 DLCs, we got 6. 3 of which were settlement add-on DLCs, we'll talk more about that later, which is basically like Starfield's Outposts a little bit, only better in my opinion. We got DLCs that gave us new items to build, in short, and we won't bother going into the other Fallout 4 DLCs because it isn't really relevant. But again, let's look back. Both Skyrim and Fallout 4 had their first DLCs be a story-focused DLC. Both took no more than a few hours to beat, both added in 2 new factions, both gave us a new companion, both added in new items and new places to explore. So I'm sure by now you all see where I'm going with this. We already know that Shattered Space is a story-focused DLC, like the first DLCs of Fallout 4 and Skyrim. If Bethesda's past is anything to go off, Shattered Space will work probably the exact same way. A new DLC featuring a new questline that takes probably around 5 to 10 hours to beat if you want to fully explore every detail of it, new spacesuits, new weapons, new NPCs for sure, hopefully a new companion because again, Bethesda's first DLCs usually do add in a new companion, and honestly I think we need some new companions in Starfield in the first place, and of course they add in other stuff too. Now to get to the more, techie side of it, the truth is we just don't know the answer, but I would bet money that no, we do not have to make a new character for this DLC, like some people are speculating, simply because Bethesda never does that, like they've never done that. And honestly, it would suck if we had to, right? One thing I will say is that I think there's a good chance that you will have to beat the main questline before this DLC. But that is just my own speculation. I have a theory that Shattered Space will be about us literally shattering space and time due to going through so many universes in Starfield's main quest. So much like how some other Bethesda games require you to be a certain level before the quest starts, for example, one of Fallout 4's DLCs, you have to be around level 30 before it even pops up, just because it can be so challenging at times. And I think that Shattered Space might have a quest requirement, again making us have to actually go through at least one New Game Plus, aka go to a new universe, before being able to access the DLC. But hey, I am just majorly speculating here. I don't think Bethesda will do this, I just think that there is a small chance of it. But just to go even further, a lot of people are wondering what the other Starfield DLCs will be, because we know for a fact that there will be more, and I personally think it's pretty obvious that we are going to get some small DLCs that add in items to outpost building and shipbuilding. Again, because Bethesda did this with Fallout 4, we got 3 settlement add-ons, so I would expect at least 3 shipbuilding or outpost building add-ons. And honestly, I think that there's a good chance that these just come together, like we'll get 3 sort of packs that have a theme around them usually, and instead of just adding in building items like the Fallout 4 settlement packs did, they'll also add in shipbuilding items too. So these can obviously be anything from new habs to maybe even some ship skins like silver and gold instead of just regular colours maybe. Hopefully some interior decorating too, since it really bothers me that I can't decorate inside of my ship. I know a lot of people want 2-story habs for their ships that have stairs in them. And one thing I also really want to note in this video is when it came to Fallout 4's DLCs, one of these settlement add-on DLCs was actually a lot more in depth than the others. We got a DLC that allowed us to build underground vaults instead of just regular settlements, and it came with its own small questline, and I do have to wonder if Bethesda will make an equivalent of this for Starfield, because that Vault-Tec Settlement DLC was the settlement pack that sold the most of the 3 that were released. Now I've briefly mentioned this before, but I think the Starfields version of this, if you will, could be a space station building DLC. Space stations are obviously already in the game, and actually space station habs are accessible through mods and console commands. So these things aren't just like backdrops, they've actually fully modelled space station habs and have made them usable in the space station builder. You just have to use console commands or mods to sort of unlock them. And also just think about how awesome it would be to sort of be able to buy a plot of airspace in a planet or moon's atmosphere and build an entire space station there for all of your companions to live on. Maybe we could even hire a ship technician to do work for us so we can customize our ships, and even a trade authority worker to come and set up shop so we can easily sell things. I don't know, I just think that this would be really awesome, but anyway, let's move on. The final DLC that we usually get from Bethesda are huge. We usually get new land, multiple new factions, multiple new quest lines, tons of new locations, tons of new NPCs, new cities, new towns, and the list just goes on and on. It's like a mini version of a full Bethesda game. And I do definitely think that we're going to get something like this for Starfield, but again, it's just because Bethesda always do this, but I have no idea how a DLC like this will work in Starfield, because usually it's just a new map and they just space everything out. But of course Starfield's map is an entire galaxy, so I think it's more likely that they just start dropping all of these new factions or locations or whatever into the already built planets, like some of the empty ones, rather than creating an entire new landmass for it. But anyway, that is pretty much all I have to say today. I do think that we're going to hear about Starfield's first DLC, Shattered Space, very, very soon, due to the fact that it is currently being tested on SteamDB right now. So of course I will keep you all up to date on that. Either way, if you did enjoy the video, I kindly ask that you leave it a like, and of course consider subscribing if you do want to stay up to date on absolutely everything Starfield. Lastly, as always, a huge, massive thank you to our channel members for helping myself and the channel out month after month. It truly means the world, guys, so thank you so much. But with all of that said and done, we are going to wrap up. So thank you all so much for watching, and I really hope to see you next time. Peace.